If you're a parent entrepreneur who struggles with boundaries, you want to settle in for this rich, heartfelt conversation I had today with Emry Kettle, who is a parent coach and a child behavior specialist. And she joins me all the way from Vienna, Austria. So this episode is just full of wisdom on how to set intentional boundaries, grow a business with clarity, and just navigate the beautiful chaos of life, especially when ADHD is in the mix. You know, Emry has a powerful gift. She helps overwhelmed parents use clear, loving communication frameworks to reconnect with their kids and just restore peace at home. And her approach just bridges the gap between adult expectations and the child's inner world. So everyone just feels heard. I love that. But what I love most about this interview is how open Emry is about the pivots that she's making in her business and life. And she shares her journey with such honesty, and she is giving us some seriously practical strategies to use along the way. I think you're gonna love it. But what I wanted to share was one of my favorite gems and how she figured out a simple system for making healthy, nourishing meals in a microwave while working from home. You know, something so many entrepreneurs need, especially when we fall into that trap of snacking our way through the day. And she and I talk about the difference between busy work and that true revenue generating activity and how to stay focused on what actually moves the needle, right? Oh, and has a clue for one of the most fun moments in the episode. And the clue is Marigold. Wait until you hear who or what Marigold is and how Emry uses her in her business. It's hilarious. And it's brilliant. And don't miss my gems of wisdom at the end of this video, where I recap all of Emry's favorite tech tools. There are so many really good ones in there, and she really shares with us how she uses them. So get ready to be inspired in this fun interview. Hey, Emry, welcome to my series on entrepreneurs who work from home. I'm so excited. You are here all the way from Vienna, Austria.
I am. Thanks, Gail.
Oh, we could get into that. We could really get into Vienna, Austria, but let's just talk about entrepreneurs and what it's like being an entrepreneur working from home. And I'd love to kick off this and tell me a little bit about how you work. What is your daily activity? Do you have any routines, or how you prioritize your tasks or structure your day? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, so to know me is to know that I have ADHD.
You're not the first one to talk to about.
Yeah, I'm not the first. I won't be the last. Yeah. We're everywhere. Yeah. I'm just about to hit the 1-year mark in my entrepreneurship. Like, the work that I've been doing with children and families is something like none of that is new to me. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. The part of it that is new is the entrepreneurship piece. So whereas before I would work with one family at a time and usually be earning enough money from one job at a time to get by, now I'm pivoting to a different model where I'm working with many people at a time. So this coming up with a plan, this planning for the future, this tracking my income and expenses in an entirely different way than just like groceries and whatnot. This is all of the stuff that is new and that I'm it's so much trial and error. And with ADHD brains, you know, obviously each person is going to be different. But for me, it's trying something out for a few weeks, see if it works. Maybe it works for a few weeks and then it stops working because the winds have shifted, and just assessing and adjusting constantly. So go ahead.
I really think as entrepreneurs, that's our life. You know, things do change with the wind. And I think we learn to pivot ourselves because we get to make those choices. That's why we are.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because being in the system, quote unquote, does not work. And I've learned that. And that's one of the reasons why I did this career pivot. I worked in a school for which I had done before in the States. But I'm in a new phase in my life. I'm almost 40. I've learned a lot about me in my 30s, right? Such a good time of life.
Right.
And I worked in a school for a year. And at the end of that year, I ended up in the hospital because my blood pressure was so high. It was dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, enough is enough. Like at some point you have to pull the plug and do what you know your heart is telling you to do. So I finally did the freaking thing, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. Things are the most chaotic they've ever been, but they're the most aligned they've ever been. So, I mean, back to your question, what does my day look like? I have to tell you, one of the biggest parts of my day is making sure that I feed myself well.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I got myself a microwave after a few months of being an entrepreneur and working from home, because I was going, I cannot tear myself away from work to go cook for a half an hour, figure out what I want to eat, make the food, eat the food, clean up from making the food. This is absurd. I cannot do this. I'm with my ADHD and executive dysfunction and everything else. I'm going, this is unsustainable. I cannot do this. Yeah. So I got a microwave and I learned about how to make myself microwave meals. I have oatmeal every single morning now, and I love it. Like, by the way, spoonful of peanut butter, game changer. But I have this great breakfast that gets me in the right mindset, and it feels good in my body, and I feel more ready to work. And that has become a very important part of my routine. I have couscous regularly. Pop that sucker in the microwave, top up my toppings while it's going. And I mean, I'm having these nutritious meals that are fueling me appropriately for my workday. And those have become pillars for me.
No, it's amazing, because as entrepreneurs, we thrive on learning and we figuring out what is the best for us specifically. And what you've done is you had to learn how to keep yourself healthy by learning how to cook these kinds of meals. And we could snack all day because we have the opportunity to do that, right?
Because we're just sitting at a desk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Learning how to give my body some movements. I started having hip pain. I started having lower back pain. I started feeling sluggish and like my body wasn't my body anymore. Within a matter of months, it took no time for my body to essentially atrophy. So it's not even just learning how to run the business, the bureaucracy wise, or learning how to run the business sales wise and figuring out what my audience is looking for. I've had to completely relearn how to take care of Emry in this process.
And that's why I'm doing this series. This is all about entrepreneurs and what we face as entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We make the choice to have these businesses, okay? But
would do it again 100 times over.
Exactly. But it's not for the faint-hearted. And and by doing this series, we're learning from each other. And that's what we've just learned from you today, how you have figured out how to have nutritious meals working from home as an entrepreneur. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I'm going to switch it up here a little bit to work.
Do it.
We talk a lot about, as entrepreneurs, revenue generating activities, right?
Yes, we do.
And actions, there's the difference between busy work and actually bringing in the money, right? So how do you decide where to invest your time for the biggest impact?
Lindsay, if you're listening, just skip forward for a minute, okay? You don't need to hear this part. For those who are listening who don't know why this is so funny to me and Gail, we are both in community with a business development strategist who we both absolutely love and adore, who teaches us how to not dive into the busy work, but to lean into revenue generating activities. Because if you don't, you will not have a business.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm asking the question.
Literally. And what I can tell you is in my first year, it's all been so mixed where I've had to split my time figuring out what is busy work for me, what is revenue generating, what is my audience looking for, how do I create a promo that speaks to that, because I have to nail the promo, which is busy work, to get to the revenue generating activity. And now, are there other ways I could have gone about doing it? Of course I could have. Of course I could have been a bit better planned out. Of course I could have really knuckled down and said, actually, I don't need to be making promos. I need to be making phone calls. I need to be sending emails. I could have done those things.
Right.
At the end of the day, my first year, I did my way. And there's a lot to be said for that. That matters so much to me. The skills I learned along the way, how to make a nice design in Canva so that I'm branded and have a cohesive looking brand. Mm-hmm. That matters to me. And I think it matters to my audience, that it feels warm and cozy. And I'm glad that I figured out how to do that. Did that help make me money? So it was a big jumbly soup, let's say, for the first year. And now that I'm coming up on that year mark, I am starting to get more serious about busy work versus RGA time. Right. So that idea for somebody with my brain is still so ethereal to me. And it's like, I can't quite grasp it or put it in a nice, tidy little bucket. So what I figured out how to do now is take my monthly plan. I figured out how to make a monthly plan, number one, which is already like, woohoo. And then take that monthly plan and go, okay, what's the busy work? What's the RGA? How do I achieve, like, what are the goals? How do I achieve this? But I never would have had enough information. I needed all those building block pieces to be able to lay it out in this way now. So it was messy. It wasn't maybe what a business development strategist would say was the best way to do it. But I think that at the end of the day, Lindsay would say it was the right way to do it too, because look what I learned.
Yes. Yes. Well, she lays that out so beautifully.
They do.
Especially when she talks about essential busy work, because that's what you're actually talking about. You know, you come up with an idea or a promo or a launch or whatever you're doing, and you have to do the work to promote it, right? And that is the difference that I've learned in her group. And so you explained that beautifully. Okay.
But thank you.
But and I think it's just, as entrepreneurs, we have to pay attention to those two areas in when we're working. Are we working just on the busy work because we're happy and we love to do it and it makes us really, feel good, but it's not getting us anywhere, right?
Well, and there are times when, because of my neurotype, I will do totally non-essential busy work so that I get the dopamine hit that I need and leverage that into doing some of the harder tasks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you use any techniques like time blocking?
Historically, no, that doesn't tend to work for me. The thing that will help me the best is getting my mind in the right zone. So if I'm struggling, if I'm really struggling with executive function, I have a couple of go-tos, and one of them might be very controversial. So I'm curious to hear from anybody listening what they think about it. I have a couple of friends who are like they're my friends, but they're also my biz buds. So people
Right.
who also have entrepreneur or entrepreneur adjacent type work. So one of my friends is a therapist and he has to find clients.
Right.
So there is that entrepreneurial link there. And he's always got some kind of a project going. So, I might voice note him something. I might just call her up and say, oh my God, the brain is not raining today. What are you doing today? And we'll start just kind of talking business. And eventually, maybe we have a really great conversation about something personal. Maybe we have a great conversation about something business, but it gets like the juices going, you know what I mean? And it gets me in that kind of productivity mode. And it gets me a bit more focused. So like rather than executive dysfunction and things are going here and there, it kind of helps rein in my thoughts and gets me focused on something.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I do. The other thing I do is I use chatgpt.
Yes.
I treat it very much like an assistant or like a mini Emry.
Right.
I give it my jumbly thoughts. I give it my emails. I give it my blogs. I give it my guides. I give it everything that I write. I want it to know my voice because I want to hear my own voice coming back at me.
Right.
And that's, I don't expect it to tell me something new. I want it to tell me my own thoughts in a new way back to me, right? So I'll just literally I've named my ChatGPT. Her name is Marigold. I'll say, hey, Marigold, my brain is being a little bit of a jerk today. Like, help. And she'll usually say, like, okay, let's review your to-do list. Like, how's this feeling? How's that feeling? And I'll be like, no, I don't want to do that thing today. What about this other thing? And just that little bit of back and forth, it is truly magical what that can do for my brain. And it can get me to that place of going, okay, well, if I pick this task, then it's a success and I can check it off my list. And now we've got some dopamine. Now we're working. Now we're chugging.
Everybody has their own way of finding, that impetus to really get to work and get the work done. And having, as Lindsay calls it, body doubling, or, being able to reach out to your best buddies and having people like that in your life. And I think for entrepreneurs, we really need to assess that. And for people who are watching, I hope they take that into consideration.
Essential.
And dear Marigold, oh my gosh. I have to come up with a Hawaiian name for mine, I think.
Oh, why Hawaiian?
Because I live in Hawaii. This is where I am.
Oh my goodness. We're like 10 hours apart then. Yeah. Wow, we're on opposite sides of the world. That's so cool.
It's cool. Yeah, it's like we and I can have this great conversation. Isn't it amazing?
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
Okay, now tell me a little bit about, and for entrepreneurs out there, what kind of tech tools do you use in your business?
Oh my God. Okay. I'm excited to share. Like, seriously, I love a good tech moment because there's, Lord, the amount of automations and technology that we need to be talking to each other is bonkers. Okay, so obviously ChatGPT, but please use it the right way. Don't let it be the thing that writes everything for you. Give it your voice, have it be that mirror, and use that as your springboard. And I'm telling you, you're going to have so much more success with it. It really can be magical, but not if you're treating it like it's a human, because it's not. Right. It's an algorithm robot, and it's really good at being that. That's number one. Number two, I use MailerLite for my email marketing, and I have to say I'm quite pleased with it. I built my website with Wix, which I also like. People have very different feelings about,
Right.
which platform they like best. So I really like Twix as somebody who designed their own website. And I was using that for my email marketing. And then I realized I was outgrowing it very quickly, which yay me, and switched to MailerLite. And now I'm learning how to use that better and better, with the groups and the segments and so on and so forth. So it was fine for a newbie, but I can see that I can still do so much more with it.
Right.
So I will grow with it and it will grow with me. I use PayHip to sell my online stuff. So like I sell guides and script packs for parents, and I use PayHip for that.
Yeah.
And what I like about PayHip is that I can do coupons. I can make as many coupon codes as I please, which is great for like bundles and summits and flash sales and things like that. It's very, very simple. Stripe integrated for payments. And that it also natively integrates with MailerLite. Not perfectly, but it does have a native integration function. So that's quite nice. And then if there's something that I need PayHip to tell MailerLite that it can't do natively, I use Zapier. I don't know, do you say Zapier or Zapier, whatever, the Zap one. Yeah. Everybody knows it, I think, by now.
Yeah.
But that's quite good.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased with that. And then I like to use Notion for tracking, there's just so much chaos in the brain of this thing and that thing. And I'm like, oh my God, no, I need a landing zone.
Yeah.
So I have like a little project hub, and any project gets its own page, and any link that I have, I just drop it right in there. And then I don't have to worry about, did I save that somewhere? Like all roads lead to Notion. I can't have things living in different places.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. Wow. You're the tech pro. You are really on the ball with all your tech.
Thank you. I have one more that I would love to share. Actually, I have two more that I would love to share, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I use Descript for my podcasting and anything like recording. Gosh, let me tell you, I pay for it. I think it's like 17 euros a month. That's some of the easiest money I spend a month. The functions it can do. I will record a podcast and I have the raw video. It auto completes a transcript. I can edit the video by editing the transcript. So if I delete a word, it deletes it out of the video. This is some beautiful stuff.
This is really cool. I'm really
really cool. I'm telling you. And furthermore, you can create a template. So, it'll be in like a widescreen because then I upload that to YouTube for the visual podcast, the video podcast. But then I want to make reels. I want to make social media clips. Yeah. So then I can tell it to switch up the layout, and then I can add my background color. I add my logo. I add whatever text I want, and I can save a template. I can make endless templates and save them. And just with the click of a button, I have my podcast set up correctly. I just tell it who the people are and their titles, and it plugs it all right in. And then bam, I just select the moments I want. I've got my reels. And then what I do is I take those reels and I use Metricool. And that's where that's where you cross post. So you put all your reels. You tell Metricool. Exactly. Yeah. And it will also tell you the best times to post for which platform.
And what's the name of that one?
Chef's Kiss. Metricool. Metricool.
Oh, wow.
I
Anybody who's
know.
watching this really got a pretty good lesson. But I have to tell you that Lindsay's been telling me to use the script for a long time, and I have been putting it off.
Script is amazing. Wait not one more minute. Get the script immediately. Yeah. And it does have an AI helper function as well. So far so good. Like you can have it create reels for you and it'll pick out some moments. I find I don't always love the moments that it pulls. So I use Marigold. I take the whole transcript and I give it to Marigold and I say, hey, Marigold, scan this, pick out 3 to 5 moments that you think are going to land with my audience. Make sure one is of just me talking. Make sure one of is just my guest. Make sure another one is us talking together. Keep it wordier. It's got to be exactly what was said. And you tell me which moments you think are going to land with my audience. And then Marigold does.
Wow. That you've just given other entrepreneurs some fantastic clues and tips on how to be successful. I love this. This is really cool. Okay.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about collaboration and communication. What partnerships or networking is part of your strategy in your business to grow it?
I am, in my heart of hearts, I'm a networker and a collaborator. Wow. So I'll share like a little bit of my past. So when I was, 18 and had to get a job, I started working retail, and I rose through the ranks pretty darn quickly because I'm a real go-getter. I'm really efficient, and I have this lovely little smile on my face. So I did pretty well. And I ended up working for White House Black Market for a few years, if anybody knows that store, which to know me now, like it doesn't make any sense, me working there. And it didn't make any sense whatsoever, but whatever, it's in the past. And we would have what we called girls' nights out, where we would host parties for our special customers, the people that spent the money. Right. So we would put together these little parties and we would collab with the people near our store. So what I would do is in the week before we would host a party, I would go around the mall to the Lynch store or Starbucks or, L'Occitane or anywhere that was selling stuff that I thought that our clients would enjoy. And I was like, hey, we're hosting a party. What do you want to give me to give our customers? And I would walk back into the store with bags of stuff, all kinds of cool little freebies. Lynch would give me a giant bag of chocolate. I mean, it was amazing. And then we would take little bits from everybody and make these cute little giveaway bags. Right. And then we'd call up our best customers and say, hey, we have this little freebie bag for you for the first whatever 100 people, come on down.
Right.
So I took those skills with me into my entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I've never been more grateful.
So how do you use them like that? How do you use that skill today? How does that work for you in your business today?
Yes. So because I'm so values led, because the work that I do is so precious and deep, I'm working with children and families and talking about parenting. This is really tender stuff.
Right.
So because I'm values led, I cast that fishing lure, and anybody who bites is probably going to be a good fit. So then it's this beautiful thing of, what do you offer? What do I offer? How can we help each other's audience to be even better? So in my first year, it was a lot of being in bundles and participating in summits. And then starting my podcast. Starting my podcast is probably the best thing I've done for my business so far, because not only does it help align me as the expert in my field, But now I'm pulling in all of these people who bought my little lure that I sent out into the world, who are bringing their expertise, and I get to give that to my audience too. My audience is learning that I'm their go-to person.
Yeah.
Anything that relates to parenting, if I don't have the answer, I know how to get it.
Yeah. And you do that. You have this beautiful
And now, because I'm connecting with these incredible souls.
Yeah.
Say that again.
You have this beautiful parenting guide that you give out, right?
I do. Thank you. Yes, I love my guide. But because I'm connecting with these beautiful souls all around the world now, through, I'll have them as a guest on my pod. And then it's like, oh my God, I love what you're doing. Hey, let's do a freebie swap. Hey, let's do an email swap. Or,
Right.
Hey, how about I be on your podcast? So that part is just now starting to explode, because now I'm getting in the groove with my podcast. So now it's kind of like that ball is rolling. I think this is really going to help me take off in year 2.
I think you just actually gave entrepreneurs a fabulous tip on how to collaborate and why it's so important to really make sure you're collaborating or communicating and networking with other entrepreneurs as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even if it's, so one of my dearest friends is a website designer. Our work has nothing to do with each other, but we are still able to connect about our entrepreneurship journeys in ways that benefit both of our businesses. It is so meaningful. And even at the end of the day, sometimes you just need to be like, holy crap, this mailer light function just pissed me off for the last 3 hours and I got nothing else done. Can you just vent with me about technology for a little bit? That is so meaningful. And that does help your business because it helps you and your business.
Oh boy, you've just hit some wonderful spots here. I hope entrepreneurs are really taking and listening to this, because it does happen. It really happens. Now we're going to talk about self-care and work-life balance. I'm really interested to know how you do it, because I know you're going through some ups and downs in your life at the moment.
I really am. I don't mind living my life out loud and just speaking my truth. And part of that right now is that I am starting the process of going through a divorce. And so the whole last year has been me knowing that this was on the horizon and me doing everything I could to get my ducks in a row to financially survive, because we weren't even surviving before. And I knew this was kind of my last shot, because I thought, okay, if I don't get this business started now, then I'm going to go through a divorce and I'm going to get whatever. I'm going to go be a barista somewhere because I'm going to have to be. And I will be so deeply unhappy. And I'm going to end up right back in the hospital like I did after working at that school. And I do not want this for my life. Can I swear on your podcast?
I guess so. I don't know.
I do not want this for my life. God damn it.
Oh, yes.
I want what I
haven't edited, so don't worry.
I want what I want, which is the work that I'm doing. So for the last year, I really haven't had a work-life balance. And I chose that very intentionally because I was choosing the work-life balance later. So did I circle the burnout brain? Yes. But it was a very intentional choice, and I would do it again. And now I'm getting to a point where I can take my foot off the gas because I built all of the building blocks. I have all of my, my ABCs, and I just am reworking them into the right places. But I've started dating, and I'm making time for that. I'm making time for rest. I'm making time for my chosen family, whether it's, going out for ice cream or just taking 20 minutes to voice note back and forth with somebody who I care about.
Yeah.
Just carving out that time in small or big, but most importantly, meaningful ways.
Yeah. 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 And it's important as entrepreneurs, and hats off to you, figuring it all out, because being an entrepreneur working on your own, it's daunting. And then having to figure out life on the side of it, that's even more daunting. And you're doing a great job. Okay. I want you to know.
Thank you so much. I'm giving it my all.
Okay, so what do you do to continue to grow as an entrepreneur, like professional development? I know we're part of the mastermind group together. Are there other ways? Maybe you have a favorite book that you'd like to share.
I I wish I was in the mastermind. I'm in the ick-free sales community.
Oh,
I
okay.
cannot wait to be earning enough to be in the mastermind. As soon as I am, I will be there so fast with bells on.
Great. Excellent.
Yes. But I'm so excited that as I entered into entrepreneurship, I went straight, I got aligned immediately with people who share values like I have. So, we're prioritizing being anti-capitalist. We're prioritizing being in alignment with our not just with our dreams and our goals, but our values. Right. And so it makes it really easy to find the kinds of people who I want to be learning from. It makes it so easy to choose people who I go, oh yeah, I like what you're doing. I like how you're talking to your audience. I like how you're collaborating. I'm going to pull this piece. I'm going to pull this piece. I'm going to pull this piece. There's a lot out there to see and to learn from. And for me, that's when I just shut down and I go, okay, then I don't want any of it. That's too much choice.
Yeah. That's why I asked this question.
Yes, exactly. So I've picked the couple of people who I go, oh, hell yeah. These are the values that matter the most to me. This is how I want to treat my audience. The way that Lindsay treats me is how I want to treat my audience. Right. The way that Megan is emailing and being a badass in my inbox is the way that I want to be a badass in my audience's inbox. So I take these bits and pieces from the people who I admire. And that's kind of it. And I let that be. It's such a nutrient rich garden. Yes. Yeah. That the other people who I get to meet through those people, that's already enough. I get to meet you and be part of this because we met through Lindsay. I got to interview Kira Sutherland on my podcast yesterday because we met through Megan. The growth that happens from that nutrient rich plot of land is already enough. I have not had to go seek out more. And the one time that I came across somebody and I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be something for me. I went to one of their presentations and I was like, not only is this the most boring thing of my life, this person is saying nothing of consequence. I'm sitting here for an hour and a half. I've learned zero. Yeah. And that's not true. What I learned is that this guy is talking out of his whatever.
So making those choices, I think we have to be careful as entrepreneurs. We can go off on a tangent and learn nothing, right? And so I love what you're saying. You're actually saying you are aligning yourself with people who have the values that you have and connecting with them. And it's rich. It's a very rich for you and in learning as well as building relationships, which is at the of everything we do in business, right? Yes.
Exactly. And it was still a good, like at the end of the day, as boring as that guy was, and he was saying nothing, what I learned from that was just as valuable, because what I learned was, no, your radar is spot on.
Yeah.
Trust your instincts, trust your gut. If you think something is off, you know how to tell if it's off or not. And it's also fine to say no. And it gave me kind of that confidence to be able to say, no, this is not right for me. Thank you so much for your time. I'll find a gold nugget somewhere, because I always do. This is not right. This is not the right next step for me. And that is a very valuable skill to have.
It is. And I think you've really pointed that out, because, we can go down rabbit holes, every day and not learn anything and find and decide. But that's where we have to make those decisions. Is this right for me, or is this not right? Am I learning something, or boy, that was a lesson I learned. I don't need to go down there. Right? Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So if there would be one piece of advice, like a key lesson that you'd like to share with fellow entrepreneurs working from home, what would it be?
Dale, I think I'm going to have to be a broken record here and say, stay aligned with your values.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is what I preach to my clients as well. I talk about defining your parenting values, because once you figure out the why beneath your how, everything else flows from there. And it's just every bit as true in my business. If I didn't have that core value of how do I want to support children and families, I would be getting lost chasing this business idea and that business idea. But because I have that root, and it is so deeply ingrained in me, and I'm so connected to it, I will always find my way back. I have ADHD. I am constantly following shiny object as it bounces away, but I always hit a point where I come right back to my root every single time, and I always get realigned. So that's it. Stay aligned.
I'd say that's really valuable advice. I do always have that, values are so important because we are singular entrepreneurs who work for ourselves, and having our own true values and I love the way you described that, coming back to the root and realigning yourself. That's really a wonderful advice for entrepreneurs watching this. So now we want to hear about your business. We want to share with our viewers more about your business, where people can connect with you, talk about your free resources, okay? And we will put all of that in the description below in the video as well.
Excellent. So I am a child behavior specialist, and I help overwhelmed parents cut through the noise, get back to the basics, and build relationship with their kids. The way that this happens largely is through helping parents define and implement their parenting values. So instead of circling the drain saying, stop, no, don't, which really doesn't work with kids, I help them to teach through connection and clear and loving communication frameworks.
I love
this. Is life-changing, cycle-breaking stuff. This is trauma healing work, and it's gorgeous.
And you love what you do.
So I can be found at emrykettle.com, emrykettle.coach on pretty much any social media platform. Or you can follow my podcast, Parenting for Thought.
Great. I love that. We will put that description as well in below. And this has just been such a delight I've just really enjoyed hearing all of what you're going through as an entrepreneur today. I think a lot of entrepreneurs who are watching this and viewers who are watching this are really there's so many gems of wisdom here. They're really going to love and learn from you as well. So thank you so much for being on the show, Emry.
Thank you for having me. I feel like I'm like kind of fan envying over you a little bit, and like you're kind of treating me like a celebrity, and it's all just very special.
Oh, you're so sweet. How fun was that? I'm still laughing about how Emry talks to Marigold, her ChatGPT sidekick. Hey, Marigold, my brain is being observed today. Can we review my to-do list? I love the way she said that. And now I want to name my ChatGPT too. What about you? Would you like to give yours a name? Beyond the laughs, Emry shared such a powerful reminder that if you're going to use a tool like ChatGPT, treat it like what it is, an algorithm, not a human. Let it help you stay focused, not derail your energy. Really great advice. And I hope you took notes because Emry dropped a gold mine of tech tools. MailerLite for email, PayHit for digital products, Zapier for automations, Descript for editing. That was so enlightening for me. Metricool for content scheduling, and her go-to Notion, because as she says, all roads lead to Notion. So many great tips, and just as important, Emry left us with a deep truth. Build your business from your values. That's what she does. Everything she creates comes from her heart to support families and children. So be sure to connect with Emry. All her links are in the description below. And check out her podcast, Parenting for Thought. You'll love it. So before you go, I have a question for you today. If you were to name your ChatGPT, what would you call it? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to read them. And I'll see you on the next video.